Hi there, my name is Graham. In Second Life, I'm known as Hrdtop75 Deluxe. I volunteer at the Virtual Railway Consortium. The Virtual Railway Consortium consists of members in groups that enjoy the railways around Second Life. They provide free open source scripts and builds for the residents to enjoy. In this series, I'm going to make a mesh locomotive from scratch using free software found on the net and open source scripts from the Virtual Railway Consortium. The reason why I'm making this series is to show you how it can be easy to make something from scratch and prevent DMCA takedowns. DMCA being Digital Millennium Copyright. But most importantly, help out newcomers to the railroads in Second Life. Join me live once a week, Mondays 5 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, or Sunday 2400 SLT. The video will also be available for viewing later as well. But for now, let's get on with the build. One, two, three. Okay. Hello, welcome back to the episodes that I'm running. Mesh modelling for the Second Life Railroad. Why is he wearing the hat? I got sunburnt today, and there's a big ring around my head where my previous hat was, and it's a little bit odd. So I thought, bugger it, I'll just wear a hat anyway. I'm also going to apologise right now because I know for a fact that my next door neighbour's, I don't know, I think he might be going through some tough times at the moment, and he feels the need to grind and rev his car, and I don't know why he's doing that. Anyway, I'm apologising for that right now. My microphone, it actually picks everything up. So if there's a guy on the other side of town, and I live in a small town, if there's another guy in town revving his car on the opposite side of town, you're going to hear it through my microphone. It's just bound to happen. Let's have a look at the last episode. We started modeling in Blender. I use Blender because it's a free open source program. Anyone coming into Second Life knows that it's free, it's open source, there's a lot of videos out there, and it's a good easy way of starting. If you want to progress further, you can go in and go absolutely crazy and start paying absurd amount of money per month, even sometimes, just to run a program on a computer. I'm sure there's going to be better programs out there, but we're running Blender, open source, GIMP, also open source, but it's free to download. It doesn't cost anything. It's a good entry level kind of thing, and you can actually make some really good stuff. Let's head into Blender. I've actually, I'm not going to lie, I've made some changes. So we're in object mode right now, which is a full selected view. I actually noticed from the last video that I'd made a lot of errors in the model. The roof is supposed to be perfectly round all the way through the model. it doesn't separate or anything like that. And this is common through every single model in this build. It's all the way through from Mark 1 to Mark 4. Not... yeah, it actually includes the PL version as well. So we'll go into edit mode anyway and we'll have a look. You can see I've done a lot of work since our last look into Blender. I've actually had to reduce the size of the normals. I'm going to add my... Nope, I don't have that there. So in the model, I've done a lot of changes. The little blue lines that you can see, that's the faces to my normals, which is, sorry, the direction to the faces of my normals. They were set to 8, which is probably, it's almost 8 times the size of what I've got them set to now. Because I've got a lot more faces, I've also made sure that all the little tiny little pieces, we'll go back into Blender and I'll show you that. Okay, so you can see the what have we got? The little faces there. If Blender will let me do it. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong view. Here we go. So I've gone through, added these faces here, and I don't have. I'll go quickly into my NDI tools, and I'm also going to capture my mouse pointer. Okay. There we go. So that there is one of the faces I've added. Now these faces are tiny in the model that I'm showing right now. However, they are needed in the model. I can't change anything about that. But if I had my normals, which I'll slide across here and show you again, just so we know. Normals, select your faces. I like to select faces. The reason being is because when it comes into Second Life, I need to know that every single face of that model is facing correctly. I don't know if you've looked into some people's models. Some people's models, and there's been a face missing. That is because of this problem here. So you could have, geez, let's try and find something. Let's take this box here. Say a perfect cube. Perfect cube, golden eye. How good's that? So we've only got 6 faces, but if a normal is not facing the correct way, that is going to be the opposite way around. So instead of facing out, it'll actually face in, therefore giving a transparent face. So we always, I can sit there. We always have our normals, which is here in Blender. We always have it highlighted. Sometimes if you've looped and cut something, it's actually going to take away some of these faces for you. It'll actually flip them. For instance, if I go A to deselect everything, right click a face, we'll just pull out one face. I'm in edit mode, yeah. There we go, down the bottom there, that's face mode. we'll select that face. And I believe the shortcut is WF, and you can see how we no longer have that aqua line. It's gone. So to actually fix that problem, we're going to go W, flip normals. WF, flip normals. You can also do that in, there it is, yeah, shading UVs, normals, flip. So we'll select, we've already got one selected, we'll select a different one, flip direction. And you can see that how the aqua line has actually changed. Flip it again, and she's back to normal. We're obviously only selected one face. Better make sure I only selected one. Yep. I've only selected one face, so I know for a fact that it's only going to be that face that I've been playing around with. Now, on today's episode, we are going to select all, dot on the keyboard to center the view, deselect all. Today we're going to add some vents, and we're also going to add some I think there's some panels that can be opened up on the roof, so I'm going to do my best to put them in. Compared to last episode, I'm going to show you the faces that I've actually added, and I've actually had to modify as well. So you'll probably remember last time from here, at the bottom of my screen I've also got Karnak on. It's a program that shows you what keys I'm hitting on my keyboard. It's not telling you exactly what I'm hitting. It's close. It's pretty close. I'm hitting actually delete. You've probably seen the A down the bottom there. I right click on the mouse. It's not showing a right click, so I'm doing my best to talk through it as well. Shift not coming up on the Karnak program. But to actually view in and to look closer into the model, I'm actually using select what I want to look at and then press delete on the number pad. So I'm not using delete underneath the home button, I'm using delete on the number pad to actually look in it, which is just a dot, obviously. So last time around, we had this round, kind of a circle all the way around, but it was a lot flatter. I actually found out that the model, the real actual locomotive, didn't have it like that, and it kind of looked a little bit dodgy, and I didn't really like it as well, so I looked further into it. I also filled in a whole heap of faces, so let's just select a few faces and I'll show you what I did. Okay, I'm going to go underneath the home button, delete faces. Okay, so basically I just ran a line straight up from there. I went to Alt, no, I had to go into select my edges. You got to remember verts, edges, faces, verts, edges, faces. Select edges, Alt, and it selected it with the right click of the mouse button. And then I went Alt F to fill everything. And we look into the model. All of our little aqua lines are facing the, whoops, what did I press capitals for? all the aqua lines are facing the correct way, so we know that our faces of the model are going to be perfect for importing into Second Life. I've also added some extra lines onto the model because I've just set them there for location of the vents on the roof. Select everything, go into, I think it's view mode. Here we go, down the bottom here. You can also do everything in this program you can do with shortcuts. You can also do it manually on the screen. I couldn't remember. There it is, left back. And I'm going to go into wireframe mode just so you can see what I'm talking about. So I've added a vent on the front. I've added a vent location as well on the back. Now all these vent locations are exactly the same. I've also, I haven't actually added the vent on the rear. That's circular, and I'm actually going to cut that out of the model. So that's going to be an interesting one right at the very end. Hopefully, if we get some time, we're also going to add a door. 2 doors. Actually, we'll cut them clean out of the model. So from here, we are going to throw our hands up into the air and run away. I don't know where I was going to go. We're going to go to the top of the roof. We're going to add a couple of vents. So there's a few different ways to go about it. I can delete faces and bring them back again, or I can select faces, shift right click in face mode. Down the bottom here you can see face mode selected. I do have that on the screen, yes I do. Keep in mind that on the bottom of Blender there's also like a time frame. That's part of animation and we won't be using animation, so we're going to grab that. We've selected the area that I want. Actually, I might even show you on Google what I'm talking about, if I can find the image first. Class locomotive. Go to Google Images. See if I can find a picture of the roof. Quick. Jesus, some terrible pictures out there. These locomotives are really old, so that's a model. I don't want to show you a model. There we go. This might do us for now. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's part of the model as well. Okay. Looking. Okay, that's no good to us. I'm just going to pick that image. We'll have a quick look. We'll have a look at the models anyway. Okay, so these are the 48 class locomotive. That's what we're building. And you can see where the arrow is on top of the roof. We're going to add that vent in. There's also a vent here as well on the front, and a vent here, and that's the one that we're going to cut out. And when we get, I'm hoping that we've got enough time, and I'm pretty sure we will have enough time. I want to cut doors and add these side vents. Some of them pop out, some of them are in, some of them are out, blah blah blah. We'll do that on the run. As you can see there's your, well, that's a Mark 4, Mark 3. We've got different vents all the way through, but I'm just going to add everything and try and make a model that's going to work for multiple different classes. So we'll just go from there. So there's the faces that I've selected. I'm going to extrude on the Z. Now obviously we don't need it too big. We can go control number pad 3 to find our level that we need. Pretty handy when you've got a really good blueprint to run off. Something's wrong. Why did that move that way? Control Z. Control Z. Something's wrong. We'll select that face. I only want 4 of the faces. That's, yeah. Centers. Come down. Go back into the left hand side, which is Control 3 number pad. Not next. It should be page down on the number pad for some reason. It's not doing that. Extrude on the Z. Not Windows Z. There we go. Now that looks better. If you don't select the Z, it'll actually move any direction. I only want it to work on the Z axis. So that's given me a bit of a cover on top of the locomotive. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Next, you'll find, okay, so let's go and have a look at, you can see there's something there that looks kind of odd. No, everything's looking good. Okay. I also want to check, so I'm going to go into wireframe mode, make sure that there's only one face there, and there is. We'll select the faces. Where are they? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not that one. They're the faces that we actually selected just previously. I'm seeing some extra faces there too. Ah, no, sorry. It's one of them. If you're looking at it incorrectly, you're going to notice extra faces and you'll query yourself. Back into solid mode. There's our event. I think it looks pretty good. So that's one way of doing it. The other way, obviously, deselect. I'll select the faces you want. You could also delete the faces, select the outer rings, and extrude on Z scale, and then fill the faces in. But I want it to be exactly like the model. I want it to be nice and smooth as well. Next up, usually when I'm building a model and I'm not, usually when I'm building a model, I do everything in one hit. So as I'm building it, I'm also modifying the faces and everything in the same time. So instead of, I've just got the 4 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, rows them up away from the model to create the door or whatever, the hinged door. You can also get there and smooth it out, which is not what we're up to. I want to try and keep everything in pattern throughout the whole series. So we're going to come back and we're going to smooth that out later, and I'm going to show you why we smooth out in Second Life as well. It makes for a much cleaner model, and it looks really nice too. If you don't smooth it out, sometimes you can get some problems with your faces where if you want a perfectly flat face, sometimes if you haven't made the model correctly, one of your faces could be out just that little bit, and just that little bit of shine or that little bit of extra detail in your UV mapping, and it'll turn up straight away. You'll see the problem and you'll be disappointed with yourself. You'll try to fix it and you won't be able to. You won't be able to fix it. So we're going to go into Blender again. Into Blender. Okay, we're going to put in the second air vent now, the one behind. We're going to go behind now. So control number pad 3 to bring back into left view. Obviously there's all different kind of views. Pick whatever you want, whatever you need, blah blah blah. This vent is larger and it can be seen. Let's see if I can pick more images. As you can see down here, most of the models, all the vents behind the main vent there are all larger. Some of them are offset as well. It's not a vent, is it? It's a... I wouldn't even call it an escape hatch. It'd be a... maybe a removable roof for removing parts. But you can see how some of them are offset, some of them are not. I'm going to actually put most of mine in the centered mode, just because I'll be able to get away with this, using this model for multiple different numbered locomotives. I won't have to recreate more and more and more. So we're going to go straight into there. As you've seen, this vent was larger than the one in front, in width, obviously. I've obviously lined up all my, go to control 3. You can see I've already lined up all the cuts, which were just loop cut and slides. Nice and easy work. So once again, extrude on the Z, grab it with your mouse, move it up. Everything looks pretty good. Nice and flat, straight up, perfect. And there's a few different views as well. If you press 5 on your keypad, it changes your views from perspective to ortho. Ortho is really good for when you're trying to go off blueprints. So I'm trying my best to keep in ortho for the majority of this. Once again, check all your faces. You've made a modification, check the faces. All UV, that blue aqua line, sorry, that's your UV faces. Make sure they are facing the right way. Or your normal, sorry. UVs are later. Blech. Okay, so we're looking pretty good there. Everything's going good, but you can see now, this face here is now lined up with the aqua line on the other face right here. So what I'm going to do is go into my normals. I'm going to reduce the size to 10. Still joined up. Let's go 0.5. Just so it's not so confusing. Hopefully that's going to work for us. When I say we, I mean me. No, it's not going to do it. Okay, because I didn't put sizing correctly, that's why. 0.5. Oh, come on, mate. 0.05. What's that measurement is? I've got no idea. Okay, so now we've got a gap in between faces. We can actually see everything a little bit more clearer, a little bit more cleaner. Go into your smaller faces on your fronts and rears. Cleaner. Everything's looking good. Now, we're got another vent up the front, don't we? Yes. Let's go to there. Control 3 on the number pad. And we're going to find out how big these vents at the front are. Oh, they're offset. They're all offset to one side too. offset to one side? Why are they offset to one side? I've got a funny feeling I know why. Here we go. Well, that's a good picture actually. Maybe not. Maybe we're not allowed to look at it. That was going to be a good picture, but anyway. We're looking to see if it spans halfway across, all the way across, or just one side. And by the looks of a lot of these pictures, it's just one side. As I was saying, I got a good idea, a good funny feeling. I know why that removable part of the roof is there. We'll probably have a look into that later. There is a bit of a competition going on there as well, if you can figure out what that pipe is on the front. Oop, my second life, not there. You want to go into there. Go into that picture. See if I can find that picture. I don't know if you can see that up the top there. Mouse is going around that little pipe up the top there. It took me a long time to figure out what that pipe was on the front, because I needed to know for when I was modelling the locomotive. I wanted to figure out what that pipe was. And I know what it is now. So I've got a funny feeling I know why the vent is on to one side as well. So I think the vent is center to one side. And if you think you know what that vent's for, contact me in World or whatever, and if you're correct, I'll give you a free copy, a free working copy. So back into Control 3 to find my blueprint that I'm going to work off. You can work off pictures or whatever you want to work off, it doesn't matter. As long as things line up, you're laughing. That was in episode 1 as well. We lined up 2 images to try and look similar. Obviously they weren't exactly perfect, but anyways. Now for this part of the model, we're going to go extrude on the Z. Okay, the Z didn't work. You can see how it's moving sideways. Press the Z again. That restricts the movement to the Z. There we go. Yeah, it looks odd. I don't know why they did that. But then again, it wasn't supposed to be a very attractive locomotive anyway, so meh. Now, we are going to do something now that's a little bit tricky. I'm obviously dragging in from the little plus sign up the top there. It gives me just a little bit extra menu. I can go through all my images and change them, my normals, shadings. Most of the time it's not really in the view, it's not needed. You can actually drag, if you don't click that plus symbol and you click here and drag, you'll bring the side menu out further. But if you click up here where the corner arrows are, you'll actually open a new window, and you don't want that at this stage. So keep an eye on that. When you've got if you do have multiple windows open, you need to go down into you edit a type to edit what that window is going to do. Next time we see that window is going to be for UV unwrapping, which is taking the model and flattening it out so that we can pretty much turn it into a flat sheet of paper. We're probably, if I'm going to put money on it, I'm probably going to say we're probably about 2 episodes away from doing that. Then again, it could happen in 15 minutes, you never know. Okay, what are we off to now? We're going to make cuts in 2 doors. I've already got a door at the back there that's not going to be used. However, when this locomotive is in use and it's going forward or cab forward, the rear door's open on one side, and then the driver can swap positions to the other side and have the rear door open as well. So it's hard to explain, but we'll see on the way through. So we've added the vents up the top. We'll go back into Control 3. Control 3? No. Okay, what's going on here? My view's not working for some reason. There we go. We're back. So we're going to go into edit mode. We're in edit mode, sorry. We're going to wireframe mode. You can see where we're basically up to. At the moment, I'm going to add in side vents. I don't know why these side vents are here. I'm sure one day I'll find out. One there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. 5 vents on one side, 5 vents on the other side. These might be for the compressor motors. I'm not 100% sure. Some of them stick out on one side and some of them are flush on the other side. They're all over the place. So I'm going to trying to figure out which way we're going to go about this, because I'd love to cut them. I'd love to cut them in, but at the same time I think we should, yeah, let's cut them. If it doesn't work, we'll do it manually. I'm sure there's going to be a point in this build where we're going to have to do something manually, so we're going to add the vents along the sides, but it's in tricky positions. One of them is going to be through this cut, but I don't want to move the cut for the shine value within Second Life. So you can actually go into verts, grab your verts, and grab them on the Y and start moving them. Grab Y, and you can set them there, but that might actually change the way your faces create a shine map. It might also change the way that your images show up as well. It can be a lot of painful processes, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't like curved corners, so Control Z to get rid of that. I'm not going to do it. We're going to look into reducing the amount of faces, verts, and edges later on. Just not right now. It's not worthwhile right now, considering we're still building, planning. So where are we off to now? Side vents. Let's add a cube. Let's add a cube. I'm going to grab it on the y-axis. We're going to scale it down. go Control 3 on the number pad. In also view, hopefully. There we go. I'm going to turn this into wireframe mode, but I also want to try and grab this cube. So I like to grab on constraints. I'm going to grab it on the Y, grab on Z. Now I know for a fact that if I scale that now, it's not going to be correct. So I'm going to go back to the main model. Because of that distance, it's given me a different perspective. I'm going to grab that cube on the x-axis. And yes, axes are a bit weird in Blender. So X in Second Life is forward, where X in Blender is sideways. Why? I don't know. I don't know who's right, who's wrong. I've got no idea. Control 3. Now I'm going to scale it. It's not exactly the perfect cube, is it? Oh no, it is. There we go. Get there. Grab wire. I'm going to select a face. Oh, make sure you go down to your bottom menu, select the face. Right click on your mouse to select it. Control 3 number pad. Grab on the Z. I'm not extruding on Z because I don't need extra faces. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hole in the model. So this is a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit more advanced than what I wanted to show, but it's one way of doing it. And there is no right or wrong way of doing mesh in Blender. So I'm going to grab that on the X axis sideways. And sometimes you are going to actually sit there and confuse yourself with the axes here, so just slow down and make sure you got nothing on your mind. Grab on the x-axis. Okay, so I'm going to bring them in roughly close to the sides. Oh, that didn't work. Also, 3. Nope. 5 on the number pad for also. There we go. So it looks pretty good. If anything, I could probably grab that whole thing. Grab. Okay, I don't think it's going to let me grab the whole thing now. No. Okay, I think I've screwed myself over. Well, everything's looking good. I'm going to go underneath the model now. Everything's looking good. Control 3. There you can see, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like my stuff perfect. So I'm going to grab it on the Z. I'm going to move that whole cube down just that little bit. Now, you look at the vent there and you think, oh, why isn't he going to move stuff around, you know? Like, why isn't he going to scale it down on the outside? At the moment, I don't want to. I could also leave this cube in. So, just like in Second Life. I went the wrong way. It's funny, mate. So, just like in Second Life, if you want 2 objects or 2 vents on either side of the locomotive, one here, one here. You can make that one cube and stretch it just like I've got in Blender right now, and it'd be the exact same thing. However, I'm going to actually cut it into the model. So I'm going to go a little bit more trickier. And in Blender, you can actually build just like using primitives in Second Life. It's exactly the same. You can do it that way. You're creating, I don't know, maybe more problems for yourself, I think, if you do cube on top of cube on top of cube, but this is just the easiest way. I found a way to go about it, and cutting into things is also pretty easy as well. It's actually even better, like, say right here, I could leave that cube in, which I'll go back to Blender. I keep looking over to my left hand side to make sure that my screen and everything's perfect as well. So as you can see there, the cube is actually, it's not in a bad position in the model. I could actually use that. However, the vents on this locomotive stick out on one side and not on the other side. So I'm going to cut the hole, and I'm going to pull all the vents out on one side in one hit. Sounds a bit silly, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You can leave them in there. Do whatever you want. It's up to you. So I'm going to grab that. Hopefully this is going to work. I've actually cut the bottom out of the model, so let's go to solid mode. Make sure that that hole is both sides. Yep. We're going to go to modifier. That is modifier, yeah. I actually need to select the other. Sorry, what are you doing? Select. Then we'll go into, oh, I've cocked up here big time. So get rid of that, that. Everything's looking good. Hopefully that cube's just by itself now. So we're going to solid. That's looking pretty good actually. Go into here, make sure. You can see I've taken the floor out this time around as well. Okay, so what we want, Control 3. We're back there. We are going to select the main body, which is there right now. We're going to add a modifier. We're going to add a boolean, B-O-O-L-E-A-N, boolean. We are going to, oh, should I had a note here. It's very rare that I use a cutter in this stage, but I think it's best to go this option for this model. We're going to go to boolean. We're going to go to difference. So operation, difference. We're going to go to select the second object. Which should, I think both of these objects are cubes, which is painful to deal with. Go into wireframe, see if I can select it. It looks a little bit confusing when you see me selecting faces within a model. But once you figure that out, everything's, if you can get your head around it, it goes pretty easy. So I'm going to select that. We're going to go into apply. Modify cannot be applied in edit mode. Oh, what? You have to go to object mode. Well, my notes didn't say that. Okay. Looks like we're going to do it manually. That's odd. Why can't I do that? Yeah, definitely cocked up there. I'm going to have to look into that. Let's cut a hole in it manually. We'll go into object, mode, we're going to edit mode. Let's see, it's all selected there. Let's... How many objects are there? Seriously? Can we change the name of it or something? Cube. Cube 2. Let's try that. Let's go A to select everything. Maybe I've made too many modifications to the model to actually be able to do it. Yeah, selecting everything. Lamp, camera, cube 2. Yeah, okay. It's not going to let us do it. So, A to select everything. It's not going to let me do it. A wireframe mode. We're going to put this in manually. Now, I don't want to manually do that when it comes to the round. When it comes to the round vent on top, I don't want that because it's going to be painful. See, you can see I haven't selected one of the faces there. That's the face I want. But I've got something, oh yeah, top, front, back, side. Yep, we're good. Delete. Faces. Okay, we're going to cut these in manually for now, and I'll look into the whole cutting properly next time. That's painful, very painful. Control 3 doesn't let me. Control 3. Also, there we go. Okay, loop, cut and slide. Go back into tools, loop, cut and slide. There is a control shortcut, Control R. Loop, cut and slide. I'm going to grab one, shift it, we'll zoom in, and we'll grab it on the Y, I think, yeah. Boom. A to deselect, loop, cut and slide. You can see how the purple, it shows you whereabouts you're going to cut it. Okay, grab on the Y. Therefore, it's only selected in one direction, not multiples. There we go. Probably could manually cut them ones in. Yeah, let's do it. I really just wanted to cut holes in it, but anyway. Actually, this way might be better, just because of the flat faces that we're going to have on the sides, so. Face mode, Control 3. Hopefully this is going to work. Hopefully. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully it doesn't give me a dodgy loop cut. Just right click to get out of that. Loop cut and slide. Looks good. Grab on the Z. Look in. Grab Z. That's actually lined up the other window pretty well too. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. A loop cut and slide. Grab on the Z. Grab Z, come on. I don't know if that's supposed to all line up them top vents. I didn't think they were supposed to, but anyway. Two more loop cuts. Right dot on the number pad just to center yourself. Grab Z. Got another loop cut. Last one. Zoom in. Grab on the Z. I just want to line it up to them spots. Everything's good. And the disadvantage of what I just did is I've added a lot of faces. You can see how earlier I only had, go into solid mode, I only had one face all the way down. Now I've got an extra 4, which is painful. But it is also smooth. So our faces are going to be flat on the side. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is figure out which vents are out and which vents are in. But I've got to go to the little engineer's room, so I'll be back in a second. I won't be long. Okay, sorry about that. Been a long time in the sun today. I'm renovating a lawn and drank a lot of water. Now, we need to figure out what direction these vents go in. And I believe that they're even both sides too. So we need to have a good look. Let's open this up a bit wider. When looking for a 48 class locomotive on the internet, you're always going to see models. And there's models all over the place too. If I recommend any model, Cision models is my favourite. They're pretty accurate when it comes to their stuff. Okay, here we go. Left hand side of our model. Rear vents are out. Front vents are flush. That's not a very good picture. So left rear out. Oh, here we go. What's this? They're all a little bit out on that side, aren't they? That's a Mark 1. That's the reason why I don't like looking at models. So can be accurate and they can't be at the same time. Here we go, here's a right hand side picture, and I found a left and a right of this model. Okay, so the fronts on the right hand side are out, go to the left hand side, and they're all out. Okay. Judging off, hopefully my mouse is there, yep. I keep saying that because I'm paranoid that my mouse isn't showing what I'm doing. So you can see there that them two vents there, I'll just open up a million and different one pages. Here we go. So the front two vents, they're actually on the way out. We go into the left hand side picture, and the front two are out a little bit there as well. However, the ones on the left hand side, left hand rear side, they're out further. Okay, let's go on. I've got a model here. Let's go and have a look at that model. I don't think I've got a torch here. Now let's have a torch. Let's see what the people in the model company have done. Hopefully there's my dodgy Homer Simpson drawing. My microphone is going to go probably a little bit quiet. Actually, no, I'll just drag the whole microphone with me. Okay, and I'll put a light on my phone. Hopefully that'll work. There we go. Oh, that might be a little bit too bright. I'll go from a distance. Okay, so they're looking at, that's the left hand side. They are out a little bit, but they're, I think it's just this model that doesn't show how far out they are. But then again, on one side it says that the one side it says that it's the other way around, so maybe that's part of the different series that they built, I guess. That one, sorry, that's not Blender, that's Google. So let's say that locomotive is a standard. Let's go to 4807. That's the one I really want to build. That's the first class of locomotive. So that's flush on the back. Yeah, flush. Be nice to have a second picture of that one on the other side, but okay, I'm gonna make a decision. Okay, I've made it. I've made it. I'm gonna make the call. I reckon these ones here, I reckon they're flush. These ones here are out, go to the opposite side of the locomotive, and I think these ones aren't out as far as these ones, which is quite easy to do. So let's start cutting holes. Let's start cutting holes. Back into Blender. So, Control 3. Bring my microphone and everything back to the workbench. Wireframe mode. Oh, we still didn't do some more loops and cuts as well. Okay. Loop, cut and slide. Add a few more. Grab on the y-axis. You can check your axis down the bottom here as well, where my mouse is down there. So grab on the Y. Go A to select. Oh no, what have you done, mate? Come on, mate. What have you done? We go to Tools, Translate, blah, 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 Mesh Tools. There it is, Loop, Cut and Slide. You can see the purple line. It's telling me that it wants to go vertical. I'm going to grab that on the Y. Now this is actually accurate on both sides of the model. Actually, I better check that. Don't want to look like a clown. There you go. You can see it. Goes all the way around. Control 3. Back into where we're looking. A to select everything. Loop, cut and slide. Purple, vertical. Grab Y. Perfect. So you can see that there's a box there, a box there, a box there. This is going to be the tricky one. We have to remember to pick up 6 points, not 4 points. Loop, cut and slide. Once again, go into here. Get a closer look at it. Grab on the y-axis. Everything is apples. A, deselect everything. Loop, cut and slide, left hand side. There is a shortcut as well, but I don't know why I've never used a shortcut for loop cut. I think it's a Shift D. No. Control R. There you go. Okay. So you can see all the little aqua lines. Now that's multiple different faces. That was actually what I was trying to prevent from happening, but we'll clean it up later. Now we need to select some faces. Control 3. I want that face. Oh, I didn't have to cut. No, I didn't have to cut. Gotta get out of there. Loop, cut and slide. There we go. A to deselect. We're in face mode now. Select, 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 select. I'm holding shift on the keyboard to select. Now, we were talking about all these sides pop out on the left hand side, but not on the problems. That's the joy of wireframe mode. Okay, we'll go back into solid mode. So now you can only select one side. This is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to go into wireframe mode. Wireframe. I'm going to try my best to remember where they were. So 1, 2. In front of there. Solid. 1, 2. And that was the same on the other side. Should be 1, 2. You can go into wireframe mode, check that out. Looks about right to me. You can see I pressed 5 there a couple of times. Took myself into a different perspective. Control 3. I want that one there. Hopefully I've picked the right side. No, I haven't. It should be that one. Wireframe. Solid. Yeah, that looks about right to me. And then it should be that one, and that one, I think. Go into wireframe mode, make sure I don't have that side selected. Go to, losing it, he's losing it. Control 3, no. 3 and wireframe. Why didn't Control 3 work? Because you're not in the right view. Alright. We're going to rip them out. So, I'm going to go to a different view now, which probably isn't going to be the perfect view. And I'm going to just scale them out a little bit, and that's going to be the x-axis. So you can see the red line coming through, all down the bottom, your red line's coming through on the side there. So I'm going to go extrude on the x-axis. And I've cocked up. Control Z. Deselected. No, everything's good. Everything's good. Back up. Okay. Extrude. E for extrude. Scale. S for scale on the X. No, that didn't work. What a shame. I think the weight difference on it might be the factor. I was hoping to get everything all even and nice, but that's not going to happen. Okay. I think we can run with that for now. And what we'll do is we remembered that in solid mode that these faces here, select, were actually closer in compared to them. Oops. There we go. And I want them about half the size, so we grab them on the x-axis. Which looks good. Come around. A to select all. A to select all. I was just about to go there and go remove doubles. But, yep, I've pressed it, and you can see up the top there that so far we've been good. I've been actually looking through and making sure all my lines have been perfect so far, so very, very happy. A to deselect everything. In face mode, select with the shift down. Now these faces were the exact same size as the ones on the rear. And this is sometimes the reason why you want to use a plastic ruler, but I'm not going to use a plastic ruler on my screen. Grab it on the x-axis. Nobody in Second Life's going to be able to measure that, so shh, our little secret. You can measure it if you really want to in Second Life, but I don't think anyone's going to punish you for doing it like that. Now, the back of this locomotive has actually got a round air vent on the back. I really want to cut that into this model. However, I'm thinking it's not going to allow me to do that now, which is a little bit disappointing. I also want to cut windows in. I want to cut a whole heap of things in today. So, what are we going to do? I reckon we cut that rear air vent in. I reckon we cut that part. Cut that in, I reckon. That's the way to go. Fingers crossed that I've already lined everything up. No, I haven't. Oh, that's right. I wanted to keep that last because I was going to cut a hole from the top. But for some reason it wouldn't let me do that in edit mode, which is odd. That should have just cut straight through. Very strange. Back into solid. So you can see it's slowly coming together. Slowly. I've gone into perspective. Yep. One thing I have noticed is when I'm usually flying through a model, I don't tend to talk about what I'm doing, and it's made it a little bit more difficult for myself, but everything's looking pretty good. Everything's looking alright. Let's cut some doors. We'll cut the doors in. There's gonna be a little bit of thought process involved. This is gonna be a little bit different. First we need to find out which doors that we're cutting first, because there's only 2 doors on the cab that actually open. Which doors are they? Oh yeah. Gotta love it how it keeps going back to that web page. Oh, there you go. There's one of the doors that open. That's a Mark 4, I think. Mark 3, Mark 4. How am I going to line that up? Doesn't look right. Okay, so non-driver side front, and that'll be driver side rear, because it was opposites from memory. We'll do the old chop. Yeah, see, there you go. There's your door there. Just make sure it is correct on the other side. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's chop. I don't know if that door is round or not. That's a bit of a problem. But I'm also at the moment not ready to chop it out completely, because the reason being, I want to be able to do 2 cuts of this model. So I'm actually going to make this and cut the door out, but leave it in place so that I can have the main body of the build, and then I'm going to go and make a door separate, knowing very well that it's all lined up, everything's going to work out well. So I'll just save as, and we'll have a different file altogether. Everything will be good. As for, we're going to have to make a bit of a cut in this, unfortunately. So we're on the front of the cab. We are going to grab normals, edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the flats. And we want to go on the X. You can just see how the X is a little bit curvy. We're going to go extrude X. Now it looks a little bit odd, doesn't it? How the colour of the faces are changing. That's because it's got a double face right now. Now I want that to have a decent amount of room, but it also has on the actual locomotive. Oh, something's happened on the Australia groups. On the locomotive, there's actually a handrail. Yep, that one. So you can see how there's a bit of a gap on one side, but not on the other side. So it's obviously the hinged side is on the handrail side. So we're just going to make sure that everything's looking good there. Yep, I reckon we're 100% on there. The only problem is we've now created a new vert. So the dot there is called a vert. We've created a new vert, and it does not connect with anything. So I'll take you up, show you that new vert. Now I obviously don't want that vert to be there by itself. I'm going to select some faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to delete them faces. Yes, delete them faces, because they're overlapping. And we've got a problem. You can see one face, two face. The normal's not facing the correct direction. I don't know if you can see that with the aqua line. No aqua line. Go onto the inside of the model. We've got the aqua line. So there's our first. So far, this is actually our first normal that has been inverted. So we can go into shading UVs on the left hand side and flip direction, or we can go W on the keypad and F to flip normals. Turn around and everything's looking good once again. Now our next problem is this here. You can see how that line, it hasn't actually selected the other vert as well. So we'll go into verts. It's actually missing a vert. So what I'm going to do is I've only selected that face. Yeah, that face, yep. I'm going to delete that face. I'm going to go back to verts, grab that vert. I'm going to go extrude on the X. So I'm only choosing a vert. And that's it. I'm going to go right, select, right click mouse button and hopefully pick that one. I'm going to go back to tools, merge at last. A. I'm going to go select edges and hopefully Alt. It didn't do it the way I wanted. Okay. I think the faces are too complex for it. So we're just going to have to manually do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go W. No, it's not W. Oh, I'm losing it. W, no. No, it might be Alt. Alt F, I think. There we go, Alt F. To fill. So I wanted 2 triangles. I got 2 triangles. It calculated the easiest way of doing it for me. And now we've got the conductor's side door. The actual door is supposed to be a little bit higher up into here, and I don't think anyone in Second Life's going to notice that. Maybe a train enthusiast or something like that, they might figure that one out, but or anyone that's been watching. Now we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Problem is we're not going to be able to scale it the way we want. So we'll go back around. It's just going to have to be guesswork, unfortunately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, see, there's a trick for the young players. 1 and 2. You got to deselect them as well, or otherwise you'll be shifting them around the map as well, around your model. So we'll go back to selecting. So if you're not sure what you've got selected, select A, select all, select A again, and that will actually deselect everything. So I'm going to grab the edges on there. We're going to make our secondary door. We are going to move or manipulate this on the x-axis. So extrude on the x. You can see straight away we're going to have problems. Once again, the normals aren't facing the correct way. So, because we've got an issue with the model as well. Okay, maybe we can a little bit further than... Oh, I think we've nailed that. Yeah, that'll do the job. Yeah, I think we've got it. So, A, select or deselect. We're going to go into face mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the main part of the body. We're going to delete the faces. And once again, aqua lines. They should all face out. And they are not. But however you notice this time around, we've got 3 that's not facing the right way. On the opposite side of the model, we only had 2 facing the other way. For some reason, that's some calculation in the model, and I don't know how it calculates that. No, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to find out why either. There'd be no answer to it. So WF to flip normals, or go into shadings, UVs, and flip directions of the normals. Once again, we are missing the extra vert on the face. Go into vert mode. There's your vert. Missing. So there should be the vert there once again. A to deselect. I'm going to select the face, deselect that. Oh, sorry, delete that face. It's amazing. As I was saying earlier, it's not something that I usually do when I'm in Blender. I don't talk to myself, which is what I'm pretty much doing now. A little bit confusing when you're trying to figure out what you're doing and tell people what you're doing at the same time. Extrude on the x-axis and shift right click, go back into your tools and merge at the last selected. Go into edge mode, select with the shift button down, then Alt F. All verts are facing the correct way. Everything looks good. Okay, so we've added 2 doors. Actually, one side looks thinner than the other now that I look at that, but I don't know. It looks about even. Looks about even. Now, we could cut windows into it as well. What do you reckon? I reckon cut... how's about side windows? We'll cut some side windows in. Have a look at the real deal. See how difficult that's going to be. I want to make the original windows too. I don't want to make the Mark III, Mark IV windows. Might have screwed myself over. Maybe I should have put side windows in first, because now... Oh, I keep going to the wrong position. Now I don't have it lined up correctly. So if I go back into my... I wouldn't call it a blueprint, but my scale of the model. Control 3 on the number pad. Be in the right perspective as well. Go into wireframe mode to see the image. You can see that it's not exactly lined up. However, I don't think people are going to notice that this gap here between this window and this line here, or this window and this line here, and plus the Second Life railway actually is 110%. So it'd probably be better off to have that window larger so that if you're in mouse look, you can actually look around. And I think that's what we're going to do. It's not going to be 100% correct. But then again, how do we know this image here is 100% correct? So, what do you do? Horns, I'm not going to bother with them. We'll do that in a separate model. We're not going to do it here. Same as the revision mirrors, we're not going to do them here either. So let's go loop cut and slide. Okay, you see the purple line there? Select the direction with your left mouse, grab and put it on the Y constraint, move it. That looks pretty good. Go to the A, deselect everything, loop cut and slide, push down off the left mouse button, grab it on the Y. If I grab it on the Y, it only goes in the one direction. Once again, grab it on the Z. Come on. It won't let me grab it on the Z. Okay. Usually you can bend and twist your model in all different kinds of ways, but won't let me. You can probably grab it on the X. Grab X. There you go. Grab Z. I'm using the right mouse click button to put it back to where it was. Okay, Control 3. We've got our window. Now I said I was going to go and cut it even larger. So cut there and cut there. It does have round corners too. Actually, I got a good idea now. How's about we cut that, cut them two windows out, maybe, well, better select all the ones that we want, not just one. Select that one, and that one. That looks about right to me. So, what if we had sliding windows, or is that going to be too... Nah, no sliding windows. That's getting too script heavy, probably too much bull crap for the model as well. What I am going to do is I will be able to actually model them windows in the correct size if I wanted to, and add round windows in as well. Now that we got our faces selected, and we go delete faces, we go into solid mode, and you'll notice they're now no longer there. Looking at this model at the moment, and if you know me pretty well, I'm not liking the amount of faces that are on this at the moment. We've got 733 faces. I'm not happy with that. So I'll do a bit of cleaning up on this model later on. Now, we should... We've got 15 minutes actually for the rest of this episode. Maybe we should start planning out the next episode. What do you reckon? Because there's a few things that I want to... I've just realised now that I can't cut holes in the model for some reason. It won't let me do it. So I'm going to have to go and research that. Because we really need to do that for the rear. I do have a dodgy way of cutting the rear vent the rear circular vent in the roof. Excuse me. I'm thinking there's a couple of ways we can do it. We can. I'd actually better show you what I'm talking about when I talked about the vent. Control 3 to go back to our model. Okay, so right there to there is our vent, and that would be nice if we can cut that into the model. Then again, we're looking at the amount of faces that we've got right now on the model. It probably might be better off if we remove some of these faces as well, by adding it as maybe a primitive in world might do that. Or I could also add that. See, we need to delete some of these faces so that these faces don't turn up. We could add a cylinder. Let's go to the drawing pad. I'll show you on the drawing pad. Move my microphone with me. Okay. Hopefully this microphone doesn't fall over me. It weighs a ton. There's my Homer Simpson drawing once again. Okay. So on the rear of the cab, sorry, not the rear of the cab. The cab's up the front. So let's go cab, door. I hope my drawing skills are up to par. Okay, so front, there's a circular vent here. Now I wanted to cut that in because if I go back to Blender, I don't want these faces showing up in the build or in the fan. And what I'm actually going to do is add a wheel script to the actual fan so that whenever the locomotive is rolling, it'll actually move. So let's go back into the drawing camera. So, as I was saying, every time I want the locomotive to move, I want the fan to spin. But right now in the build, we've got all these faces in the way. Grab a highlighter. You got all them faces right there, and they're in the way, and I don't want them shown in the build. I want them to show around the actual object, which is going to actually be a cylinder. I hope my drawings are getting right or understandable anyway. As you can see in some of these models, we'll go back to some of these models. When you look down from top, their air vents are not very high off the deck. They're really low, which I don't think I'm going to get with a prim. I really don't think that's going to happen. What the hell is this crap? Let's see if I can find an image. It's back to the model again. Don't get me wrong, they're great models, but it seems as if they're the only pictures out there on the internet of these locomotives. So if we go back to Precision models, go back and have a look at their model. You can see there that the vents are really high on their model. Go down, all their models, all the vents are exact same height. They're not supposed to be that high. They're not supposed to be that high at all. They're actually a little bit more subtle. They're not popping off the top, as you can see in this picture. See, it's very up the top right hand corner. It doesn't pop as much on the model as the model, sorry. So I don't think I'm going to get that with a prim, and also have a rotating fan on the inside as well. That's why I want to cut the hole in the mesh. But then even if I did want to actually have, which is another complication, 2 prims on top, I would still have to have 2 transparent prims on top, 2 transparent images, which will cause chaos when it comes to the Second Life Railway being the track bed, because, or even the trees around the build, around the railway, because a lot of these things are transparent and they give off these weird and wonderful see-through layers. So one transparent layer gets it gets selected over the other for some reason, and I don't know why. But I have found that if you can do it without, if you can build the model without using transparency for the majority of the build, especially in the mesh parts, you will have no problems whatsoever. So I need to look into, for next episode, I'll need to look into why I can't cut that into the model. We're also going to put windows into the doors. And I think it's about time we started putting the cab together as well. And then that'll be the top part of the build finished. That'll be cab and the engine side of things all done. Obviously I'm going to use some car door scripts on this. That's the reason why I've cut that door out on the left hand side as it sits, and right there I've also cut that door out as well. I'll use a car door script on that. However, I'm not going to put the rear door, which I'll go and select. I'm not going to make that an actual door because you can't actually walk through there anyway, and I won't have a proper walking platform within the model where you can walk into the motor, and I'm not really interested in putting a motor in it anyway. I think this model realistically should weigh, in a perfect world, I think it should only weigh about 90 to 100 land impact. Perfect world, I'd like it to be 50, but we're just going to have to look into that. Obviously the main part of this build, which is going to be absolute chaos, is the top part, what we're doing right now, the chassis and the bogies, they're going to be the major parts of concern. The rest, you can drop a little bit of detail out here and there for everything else. But yeah, that's basically what I want to do. So we've done a lot of the air vents. We'll add some windows in next time. I'm going to cut in the cab. I'm not going to put seats in. I'm not going to do any of that. That's going to be all separate. The problem I found with mesh modelling for the Second Life Railway is the scaling. Now, the Second Life Railway is standard gauge, which is 8 foot 3 inches and a quarter or something like that from memory. I'm definitely going to be wrong there. I'm going to get punished for it. So, 8 foot 3/4, whatever. It is actually 110%. If you've ever actually put a prim onto the rails, in between the rails is the measurement. It is actually oversized, but it's not oversized to the point of broad gauge. So it's a bit of a tricky one. It's actually 110% scale. So that's where we're at. Once again, I'm not happy about the amount of faces that's on this model right now. I do need these faces up the top because we're going to smooth the whole model out, and I need more faces up the top. We're going to build the chassis separately. I'm going to have cab, the main body. I really want to put that filter, the fan vent in the back end of it. And there's a few little bit of extra details, as in cab numbers and lighting, that I'm going to do separately. Just because I'm going to be able to actually use that model for separate things, separate other locomotives as well. So next episode we're going to look into. Well, I'm going to have to look into it. Why the hell couldn't I do a boolean cut? I've got a funny feeling it might be because it's not a solid object right now, and I think boolean cuts only like solids. Or maybe it's because I added the wrong kind of object. Not 100% sure. That's the mission for next time. What else are we doing? Once you get boolean cuts in this thing, everything will just fly together. And I reckon maybe next time we're going to have to look into the doors, the windows for the cab. Let's do a bit of smoothing as well. We need to do a bit of smoothing. A lot of the maintenance on this model, we haven't been keeping up to it. I've been trying to keep very basic, so that we all can understand what's going on. I don't want to try and make it super difficult by bouncing in between this and that. So smoothing the faces, especially around the top. And if you've ever looked at some of the models in Second Life, you'll actually see faces that are smooth and not smooth, and it can create a lot of difference, like the quality of their build. Like say person on the left compared to person on the right, they've got the exact same model, and somebody has made a smooth face and someone doesn't have a smooth face. You can see a complete difference. It can make make or break the actual sale as well, which is quite funny, and that's what we're here for. We're going to make a model, we're going to sell it, we're going to go from start to beginning, start to finish. We can go to start to beginning, but we're not going to get very far, but anyway. Okay, so boolean cuts, we need to have that for the vent. There's no other way around it. The vent's not going to work without a boolean cut. Doors, we need to put the doors on, but then we're going to separate them later. So that's one of them. That's one of them weird ones. I'll show you the reason why we're going to do that later. Windows for the cab. That's going to be a pretty basic one. I reckon we'll fit that in a 2-hour session easy. You've seen us cut the doors today, so that's not that hard. Smoothing faces. We really want that boolean cut in first, but then after that, I'm going to duplicate the cab. Then I'm going to scale it. Oh, moving the old thing around. We're going to dupe the cab and we're going to scale it down, and we'll set the doors and everything to line up on that. So hopefully the outer shell and the cab inner shell should all line up. And then, I don't think we're going to fit this all into the next episode, but then we need to go into what we call, I'm going to our shading and UVs, seams. We need to start making seams. So obviously if you want to make a dice is a nice simple project in Second Life if you want to do that. And sometimes the easiest way to go about making your model is to actually plan it out on paper, just like this. And that's a dice. Put all your numbers around it and away you go. Obviously we've only got one face. Oh, I've stuffed up there too. There you go. So basically you make your cube and then you go through and mark your seams, and it should unwrap into a flat object, which we're going to have a little bit of problem with the flat object thing here, so it's going to get a little bit crazy. We're going to look into it, make sure that everything's nice and clean as well, because we are going to put this into GIMP, which is just a nice basic program. We're going to upscale the image and then we'll downscale it for later. And hopefully upload it to Second Life and everything's going to be absolutely perfect first go. Anyway. But for now, I've got to do some research and I've got to cook dinner as well. So next operation, boolean cut. We tried that today, it didn't work. For some reason, I don't know why. We'll look into the doors. We're going to research that. Seams, I don't think is gonna happen for the next episode. But I'm hoping to get all that done. So doors, windows, smoothing, dupe the cab, shrink it, seam it if possible. I'm not thinking that seams are going to be in the next episode, but we'll see how we go. And then Actually, let's take smoothing off that, because I want to clean the model up. I don't like how many faces are on this model at the moment. Go back into Blender. I don't like how many faces are on this model at the moment. Sure, the model looks great and everything, but there's too many faces around here, and I think I can clean that up and we'll have less land impact. Less land impact is going to be the key for this model. There's a few areas on the Second Life Railway as well where I'd love to run 2 or 3 of these models in a consist being multiple locomotives in the power range. And I know some locomotive builds in Second Life are through the roof. As long as we keep everything under 256, we'll still be able to script it. So yeah. For now, thanks for watching, and we have to do a lot. When I say we, I mean me. I have to do a lot of research into why that Boolean cut did not work. Also, I am still planning to figure out what the time is going to be for the next episode. We've got daylight savings coming up here in Australia soon, and I do have to keep it to the 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time zone, because I do have to go back to work very soon. From what I understand, it's going to be at the end of this month, which is not too far away. So I've got to find out the translation of what 5 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time is to 2400 SLT time, which is right there. That's what I've always kept it as. I might have to adjust that, and that time zone should come into effect the second week of October. So I've got a little bit of time, but I've got to figure out how it all works. Time zones aren't my favourite thing. Are you following along at home? Send me a message in World. Send me a message in World or whatever's going on, and maybe we can have a bit of a show or display or something like that of everyone's builds. I'm trying to only keep these episodes here to like a 2-hour thing so that everyone can keep up. If they want to make something basic, do something simple. That's just the way. If you have any questions, give me a yell. Take a picture with print screen or something like that, send it to me, or send it to me on the socials. You can do that as well. I've got a Twitter account. You can send it to me. You can send it to me via Facebook. Twitch is no good to you, and YouTube's no good to you. But yeah, I'm happy to help out. And usually, if I'm looking at a model, I can usually see it and go, okay, your problem might be because of this. That Boolean modifier is not something that I commonly use, so yeah, I don't know why it didn't work. But that's the thing, you're always going to be learning with Blender. Shortcuts, new ways of modifying things. I didn't really want to go into Boolean cuts when it comes to the basics for mesh modeling. However, that fan on top of this locomotive needs a Boolean cut. I don't see any other way around it unless I make it out of scale. So for now, Hope yous are all going well. Hope everyone's happy in Second Life and all that. And yeah, tell me, are you keeping up with the build? Are you following along? Do you want to make a rollway event? Tell me what your thoughts are. Obviously, I can get a little bit of things happening through the virtual railway consortium. And that's obviously where we're going to be picking up our scripts. But for now, I've got to go out and start cooking dinner because she is getting pretty late here in Australia. And yeah, have a chat with me in World. Don't be afraid to talk to me. I'm always here to have a chat. So if I don't answer straight away, guarantee it's because of a time zone difference. I think we're only coming into English time zone right now, I think. So, meh, whatever. Anyways, have fun, and we'll see you on the next build.